Hey everyone. Well, if you've been watching my channel lately, you'll have seen that I have purchased the F6F-5 Hellcat, the Grumman World War II fighter airplane from Flying Iron Simulations. And I've loved it so much just in the few days that I had it that I had to go back and purchase their Spitfire. Somebody else said that if I loved the Hellcat, I'd love the Spitfire. And this is my first look at it, people. This is it. I purchased it. It was $24, I think, 25 US dollars, which is cheaper than the Hellcat. But I know it's been out a little bit longer, and so that's fine. And I'm not going to go through a whole lot of the settings and everything here because I haven't really familiarized myself with it, and I'm hoping that I can get it off the ground. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to the Hellcat in the sense that if you're not careful, you'll do a ground loop. I did not see a tail wheel lock in here. Not that there isn't one. I just didn't see it. I haven't really looked at the manual. Like I said, this is my first look. I was just so anxious to try it out. I downloaded it. I unzipped it to my community folder, launched Flight Simulator, and we're in it together for the first time. And I just did an automatic startup, and I'm taxiing here. I made sure that my levers, my throttle, prop, and everything were all working. And I love being able to look out the canopy on these high-nose planes because the S-turns are tough sometimes. But in here, we're lucky we get the canopy that can be opened up here. Yeah, it taxis really nicely. Seems to roll pretty fast. I gave it a little bit of throttle and then I cut it right back off, and we're rolling pretty good here. So the airflow over the tail, the rudder, through past the rudder, is really allowing me to turn quite nicely. I assume the tail wheel's not steerable. Could be, I don't know, I haven't looked. Maybe that's why it's turning so nicely. But I love the textures on this particular paint job right now, and it really is incredible. The cockpit, everything looks so nice, and I'm really anxious to take off here. Again, my first look, my first flight. I got no idea how this thing handles. If it's like the Hellcat, then that means that it's not like the regular Microsoft planes, but maybe more realistic. So here we go. We'll let it roll forward a little bit so that the tail wheel will straighten out. And let's get the door shut here. I really like this feature, and then we'll lock it. Safety lock, and then the canopy, the hood. And I noticed that they're very easy to grab and handle here. So everything is very nice to see. The gauges are clear. It's very easy to read even in VR here with my Quest 2. And, let's see if we can keep her straight in on the runway here. I have a tendency to overpower. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Not straight down the runway, but not too bad. I have a tendency to want to push that throttle forward and all the way, and you really can't do that with these monsters. I shouldn't say monster because she's a beautiful lady, just like the Hellcat, and it's the engine inside of them that's really the beast of the thing. And if you give it full throttle to take off, you're probably going to more likely roll over than take off, or not do too well. But yeah, handling really nicely. The sounds are awesome. I love the sound of the engine. In a little while, we'll open up the canopy and hear it even better. But watching my gauges, everything seems to be really clean and fluid. And I don't want to, be crazy with this thing yet, because if I remember correctly, the wing design of the Spitfire, they weren't too hard to roll and spin and go down, and I'm really close to the ground, so I want to be really careful right now with how I handle it until we get some altitude. But I'll go up later, and maybe not this flight, but at some point Yeah, I might try a few of the maneuvers. I think this is an unrestricted aircraft similar to the Hellcat in the sense that it can do slow rolls or loops or the Immelman turn and so forth. Diving, I'm sure it's a good dive, but I don't think it was meant as a dive bombing plane, but as a dogfighter. It was really incredible. I think it was used in ground runs, 2 ground streaming runs. I feel like I'm reliving the Battle of Britain. It's like I'm back in my Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator, which, boy, I miss those so much, the European and the Pacific. But the Hellcat and now this guy, it's just give me the guns and some targets and it'll be like having the old sim back, but just on steroids, because this airplane is not quite the same like it was in the days of Combat Flight Sim from Microsoft. Yeah, the handle's nicely here. But I don't know, it feels like if I'm not careful that it would just really lose control on me real quickly. Yeah, it'll give a thrill to some people driving down the highway, huh? It would be pretty cool to be driving down the highway and have something like this come by and buzz you. A little bit of a stutter there. Weird. I noticed it a couple of times, but overall, hey, it's the beta, and I don't think any of these planes have been optimized for the Sim Update 10 release, and I've been flying the beta. Again, if you watch my channels, all my recent videos are all with the Sim Update 10 beta using the DLSS option and flying virtual reality with my Quest 2 headset and SteamVR. No, I do not use the link cable or earlink. I try them every time they're updated, every time there's a new driver, and I'm sure they work great for people on their computers, but for my computer, they do not work good at all. They're not reliable. I don't like them. SteamVR has been the way to go for me. And so I figure there's got to be others out there like me, and that's why I tune my videos or, share my videos, because there's a lot of videos out there for people that use reverbs, and there's a lot of videos for people out there that, yeah, look at this, what a beautiful bird. Beautiful, beautiful profile, huh? Just so classic. Man, sweet girl. And, so I use SteamVR with virtual desktop, and I know there's others, so that's why I designed my settings for. And I don't fly the airliners, the big guys. They too much of a drag on the power, and they're not my type of flying. So I definitely notice a big decrease in performance when I get into those guys. But again, I don't fly them. I fly this. I fly low level. I fly sometimes high level, but I'd rather be buzzing treetops and in general aviation or classic birds like this, in bush trips. So that's what I tune my settings for, and so if they help you, I'm glad to know that. But I'm having a lot of fun with how she's handling. The response to my control inputs are really they're fast and they're smooth. So I think they did a pretty good job modeling this plane as well, at least from what I can tell, based on my 20 plus years of flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator, among other simulators, and real flying, studying and learning everything I can about flying for the last 20 plus years as well. I have a whole bookshelf just on flying, and not just simulator, but real airplanes, general aviation, military, fighter combat techniques, and navigation through radio beams, navigation through VORs, navigation through ILS. So I got a little bit of experience under the fingertips here to, I think, be a fairly good judge of something in Flight Simulator compared to the other versions and other planes. dive here, and then maybe after that we'll see about doing the immoment turn, I think. I'm gonna do a little slow with this. I think I did those with the Hellcat, my last Hellcat video. So yeah, here we go. So let's see. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, did that pretty nicely actually. So if you don't know that particular maneuver, it's almost like doing a loop. You do a vertical climb straight up to the top of the loop, but then when you get to the top of the loop, you don't continue back downwards, but you actually roll over to get your belly down, and so it's a way of climbing height and reversing direction. You end up going in 180 degrees, and depending on when you decide to roll over, you gain a substantial amount of altitude as well. Yeah, so that's the immoment turn, named after a German pilot. I'll put the information on the screen afterwards in the video. Yeah, so this plane, I think at this point I could almost recommend this as highly as I as highly as I am recommending the Hellcat. The planes are just, they're awesome to have in your hangar, and if you like planes that fly realistically enough, let's open the canopy here. There you go. About that. Now, if I remember correctly, the Spitfire had a mechanism to close that canopy. Let's test that. Oh yeah, I guess so. Of course, just could be gravity, but I think it was meant to do that, because I know the Hellcat didn't do that when I tried it. Yeah, dives nicely, rolls along the ground nicely here. You can tell though you want to be very gentle when you pull out of a steep dive like that, because otherwise, even if your nose is up, the plane will continue going down until you hit the ground, and so you want to be careful on that. Yeah, really cool plane. Again, this is the Spitfire from Flying Iron Simulations. And if you're interested in my computer specs, they're always in every single video description on my channel. And I now have, I think, close to 600 videos up there. Probably 20 or 30 of them just since the last couple of beta releases. So this is Sim Update 10 beta release 1.27.18.0 and the latest Nvidia, which is 516.94. Both are due to be updated and released this week. The latest beta, or the official release of Sim Update 10 is scheduled to be this week, and it's supposed to coincide with Nvidia's release of a driver supporting it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's going to be so cool to see our flight sim there when it shows supported games for things like DLSS. Yeah, I mean it's just good. This good for me with a beta, with almost all my settings up on high, and so I can't imagine once the driver's there. I'll be posting videos, I'm sure. But hey, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the skies. Check it out, Flying Iron Simulations. They got some awesome planes. I'm looking forward to more from them guys. Maybe we'll get a Messerschmitt or a Zero or a Foco Off 190.